they would have done their own this is to see how they can take off Slim from the whole equation. And you know that quite well because, of course, you know, Toyoko is the political ally and also a business ally of the former Minister of Transportation. So these things are clear. And you see, so for some of us, we are really not worried about what happens. We allow the Supreme Court, since he has actually filed his appeal, if you think the thing is right, we allow the Supreme Court to look at the merit of the appeal and take the position on it. Whatever position the Supreme Court takes, we will accept it. Whether we argue for or against it, but it becomes the law and we accept it. And move on. But the point is this. I want to say categorically that Rivers State as presently constituted will not step out of this current political instability for the next 4 years. Looking at what is happening, unless the minister backs down. Because this crisis is currently orchestrated by the minister.
Now, saying that this crisis was orchestrated by the minister and that the minister should back down, some of us would disagree and say, look, Sim knew what he was going into. He had an agreement with the minister. He's the former governor of the state, and as such, like the former minister is popular for saying, agreement is agreement. So why doesn't he want to keep to the terms of the agreement that he had with his boss?
Let me ask you a question, sir. Sim is having an agreement with Wiki on whose expense, from whose pocket, at the expense of Rivers people or at the expense of Rivers resources. Whose expense? That is the question we should be asking. And why should we keep such an agreement? Let me tell you, there are contracts called illegal contracts that are not justiciable in law. Those contracts and agreements are not justiciable because they are illegal contracts. Do you know why? No matter the agreement Wiki had with Sim, Wiki will never go to court against Sim. It's because to enforce that agreement is because he had an illegal agreement with Sim. That is why he will never go to court to enforce it. Because the agreement is illegal. And that is why if the agreement is illegal, it means that it is no good for the people of Rivers State. And if the man has come into office and seen that this is not good for Rivers people, and if I do this, I will be betraying the trust of those who have supported me. I'll be suffering my own people. My people will go through hell. Why should I keep to such an agreement? Why should he keep to an agreement where Wike has instructed and said that the wife of Governor Sim Fubara should not declare herself as first lady of the state? That he does not want to hear anywhere that she is being addressed as the first lady of the state. Why should he keep to such an agreement that will actually put him into perpetual bondage as a person? Why should he keep to such an agreement?
Well, they say the office of the first lady is an illegal office in itself. It doesn't exist in law.
We like to call it an illegal office in itself, but we all know that in our country today, as much as the office of the first lady in law, it doesn't make it illegal because it is neither here nor there. It is not backed by law does not mean that it is illegal. So it is an office actually that is being established, but not by law, but as a matter of policy. As a matter of policy, which is a simple thing. So when you look at the terms before the governor of Rivers State, if you were the one, it was difficult for you to even keep it. Because they were criminal laws. Look at how they came everywhere, appointed everybody for the governor. You see situations where the government cannot actually sign anything above 15 million unless he gets an approval from Abuja. How does that work? How do we make progress in the state? How do we make progress in the state? The state cannot progress.
But in all of this, you still have Rivers people who are the governor who you claim that he's fighting in the interest of the Rivers State people. But again, what is the interest? That leaves you to ask what the interest of Rivers State people is and what.
You must have heard about Mobutu Sese Seko of the race. You will also must have heard about Hayes Inkamin Zubanda within even Felix Opebahin of Ivory Coast and several other dictators within the continent of Africa. These men had people who were urging them on, who were supporting their actions, who actually, even people like Idi Amin, No matter how much we actually talk about how bad his regime was and his administration is, you see people who hail them and know that politicians will always get people to hail them. It will not. The fact that people hail them does not mean that what they are doing is right. The fact that the current minister is getting support from a very minute fraction of previous people does not mean that what he's doing is right. What he's doing is not right, and he knows. And that, let me tell you, the only focus of the minister is to protect, according to him, to protect his political structure. That is just his own. And what is his political structure? The River State Corpus, to be in charge of River State. He's struggling not to lose his political relevance in the state. And he thinks if he allows Sim Fubara to actually work as governor of River State, he's going to lose his relevance.
But isn't that what guarantees his position as minister of the FCT?
No,
because if he loses his political relevance, if he loses political relevance in River State, he loses everything. Isn't that why he's fighting? Because as it is, the only reason he's minister today, even though he's not a member of the All Progressives Congress, is because he has, control of the state's party structure.
Now, listen, the issue of the current crisis is not as a result of control over the party structure. I can tell you for a fact that even from the body language of the governor, Sim Fubara, I can tell you that the governor is not even interested in controlling the political structure in the state. The governor is not even interested in controlling the political structure in the state. That is why he is not even interested in most of these things. But the only thing we are also saying is that the only thing he's saying is that hold your political structure, give me leverage to govern these people. Let me come up with my policies. Let me fail. Allow me make my mistakes. Allow me have my failures. Just like you also made your mistakes. Just like you also had your failures and your successes. Allow me to do the same. That is the leverage.
Now, some people believe that some people believe that it was too early for Sim Fubara to begin to want to take control, considering the fact that he had, what you have termed an illegal agreement with his predecessor. He should have exercised a bit of patience, and rather than come out less than 6 months after taking office to want to show, take control, he should have allowed things to, at least for his predecessor to gain some grounds as minister before he tries to take over and take full control of the state.
Let me shock you. Let me tell you. Sim Fubara even tried to survive 6 months with Wike. Sim Fubara tried to survive 6 months with Wike. Surviving Wike is not an easy thing. Fayose has even alluded to that fact one time. That surviving this man, being with this man and being patient with him, is not an easy thing. Let us look at some of the things that have led to this political crisis. That the man survived. You appointed his chief of staff. You appointed his CSO. You appointed the camp commandant of government house for him. You appointed out of 17 commissioners, you appointed 16 commissioners. You appointed out of how many essays, you appointed majority of the essays for him. And there are some places where we even heard that even the driver, which I'm not sure of, his job was also appointed by the governor, by Wike. And now, the governor also carried out this, decided to carry out certain projects. You call the governor and tell the governor, no, he didn't stop at that. The governor started his 100 days in office. At a point, you told the governor to stop his 100 days in office. The program activity that was lined up for the 100 days in office, the project to commission, you told him to stop. And he stopped. They didn't complete that 100 days of office ceremony. It wasn't completed. You want the person to continue. Before you say he started too early, it became so choky. That at a point, the governor left and went to the UK and said he was no longer doing this whole thing. He's tired. For 2 weeks, we didn't see the governor. We didn't hear from the governor. For 2 weeks, we did not see the governor. When I didn't hear from the governor, it took the intervention of some elder statesmen, including the former governor of River State, Dr. Peter Ottini, to go to the UK and then him to come back to continue. Because it was too much. Nigerians do not know what this man has gone through in the hands of the Minister of Justice. These are just the small information we have in the public space. But if you know that this man has gone through in the hands of the Minister of Justice, nobody would actually fault him for starting up the fight as when he started up the fight. Because at a point, he needs to survive. He needs to bring out his head. This continuous attack, this continuous neglect of his person and of his office, or abuse of his person and office, doesn't make any sense. So, because the minister appointed commissioners for the commissioners were no longer respecting the governor. They didn't have respect and regard for the governor. If the governor overruled the action of the commissioners, they rushed and called the minister. The minister called the governor, shouted on the governor. So you to say, in such circumstance, who will survive it? Who will survive such a circumstance? Who will survive such a situation when you're not being given any leverage at all? No leverage is being given to the governor. It was choking. We've never had it this bad. Even the president who had been the godfather of Lagos State for several years now, who has been the godfather of Lagos State, deciding things that happened in Lagos State, gives those people under him some leverage. He gives them some leverage and allow them make certain decisions themselves. But in this circumstance, the man is not making any decision himself. We are deciding everything. Every day they move files from Port Harcourt down to Abuja for the minister to approve before the government takes action. So the government is just as a figurehead to sign papers, and that is just it. So at every point in time, people will get angry and will take up their position and decide to take a stand on this issue. So I don't fault the governor for starting the fight early. I don't fault the governor for the timing. Because he needs to also survive. Rivers will also need to survive. Rivers will need to survive. So you see a situation like the rainbow, which is part of the supposed to be the signature project of the governor. It was even the former governor who made all the necessary arrangements, and all the governor did was just to sign out the money for the ring road. And you say such a person should continue to keep his mouth shut and wait. Wait for what exactly? When the people who voted for him, people who looked up to him, are suffering. People who look up to him are suffering. Go to River State today. Nothing is happening in the state. Because it is a dry ground, nothing is happening. River State that used to be a bubbling environment with very good economy. Today people are leaving River State in drones, seeking for criminal pastor elsewhere within the country. That is the current state of the state as of today. So these are the issues we are talking about. So for me, the issue of timing shouldn't even be an issue. Because if I was to be in shoes, I can't even survive 3 months with Wike. For every 3 months with Wike would have been a difficult thing. The man went through hell, and for me, his actions were justifiable. Because he needed to survive. If he had continued like that, who knows what would have happened to him?
All right.
It's not a unfortunate situation we have.
All right. This would be a good place to bring in our callers and listeners, everyone who's been listening. Join the conversation now. 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. You may want to send SMS or WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450. All right. Let's begin by taking your messages. The messages have come in earlier. This one's from AVK from Cuba. Says, good morning, Prince. Well, the truth is the law won't hold on Rivers because Wike, as a sitting governor, worked against his party to support APC, yet the law wasn't applied by suspending him as the governor. For me, Governor Fubara should hold firm and keep his head above water. The people of Rivers State know who is behind the scenes. God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much. Let's bring in a caller now. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sunday the Prince. You're welcome.
Thank you. I agree to this. You have spoken it up. From my own understanding, you want to be relevant in River State, just to remain as godfather, as a dictator. Yes, because once he did not do this fight, he became relevant. And one day the same person will become former governor. So I don't see the reason why he shouldn't allow him to perform. But they look at how these guys have become to APC. That's to tell you that understood. I tell they will use the Supreme Court against the match because it's impossible in this country. The judiciary itself is no longer the home of the common people. Once it comes to policy, because it's all about the highest bidder. So that can 27 knowledge at the campaign if there is nothing like on that truth. The PDP governor is in charge. The possible input now, he has already tell us where it belongs. Even during that campaign, where did it belong? So one time come and tell you. Today now, we don't know if it's the PDP member or APC member.
All right.
If they have a resemblance to the camp, automatically they have understood. There is maybe the real Supreme Court against the guy, as soon as they're not fulfilling with teaching them. So anything is possible. And I don't see why this politician, that's why tomorrow I still respect the person of people. And almost what the town governors in a number. Once you're done, you're done. And you're now the next person to succeed you, also perform. And I want other states to replicate the same thing. Everyone go for federalism has person should be former governor. So we should concentrate in FCT and allow the people of the country to be and allow the governor to perform.
Thank you
and
very
what
much,
people we can do. If we fail to deliver in 4 years, the people of the state will decide to vote next.
Thank you, Sunday the Prince. Appreciate you calling in. And the conversation continues. Be a part of it. We've been talking about the Rivers State, squabble, the face-off between the Rivers State governor and the faction as well, between himself and his former godfather, and then the defection of 27 members of the State Assembly yesterday, seeming like looking like it's crowning the whole of the issues for the governor in that state. Join the conversation. You too can be a part of it. Call 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. My guest has been Chatham Theory Nwala, lawyer, Pan-Africanist and activist. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Yenacho.
Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. What's your name, sir?
My name is David. I'm calling from Lugbe. I'm a first-time caller.
David, I'm so glad you joined in. Welcome to the family.
Thank you very much, sir. On the issue for today, I want to say this. I, for one, never really liked this godfatherism of a thing. I've always been engaged at the moment. The same thing happened when Wike disrespected the officiality. That even if Fubara will stand up tall, the Supreme Court is going to judge the case for Fubara. And at the end of the day, Wike will lose out because what he is doing, nothing.
All right.
But I just want to assure the Rivers people to all stay calm.
Okay.
And let us see how this whole thing unfolds.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is in the state.
Okay, unfortunately, these are the type of things we see when it comes to political crisis and instability in third world nations, especially now in our own country too. We've always seen such situations, and this is part of what some of us have been praying for and saying that it should not happen, or praying against and saying that it should not happen because the lives and property of the citizens is core and important to us at this particular point and phase. So we're all praying that just into a violent situation where people will be killed and people that so these are critical and serious issues. They are serious issues. So what we are praying against is that it shouldn't actually escalate into that. And that is why we are saying that we need this to end as quick as possible. Then you wait for the man by the end of this administration, you wait for him by the end of these 4 years, then you can now do whatever you want to do. But you cannot stop. There should be an end to political crisis or politicking.
All right.
This is the time for governance. It's a time for governance. And no government can function adequately if there is political instability. No government can function adequately if there is political instability. Like we have seen in Rivers State today. Nothing is happening. No government function is holding. All the government is just doing is paying salaries. Nothing serious is going on because the governor is distracted. So that's why we are saying that. Allow the governor to work for Rivers people. Rivers people have voted for him. You said Rivers people voted for him. We said, okay, no problems. So allow him to continue his work as governor of the state. Allow him to continue his work. The political instability in the state is really unnecessary. Because I know definitely it may eventually snowball. Of course, we saw a situation where even the police poured water on the governor, hot water on the governor, shot at the governor. So if this thing continues like this, it may actually degenerate into something that we would have to regret at the end of the day. And that is what we don't want. We all know how the 2015 crisis, the 2013 to 2015 crisis ended. We all know how.
At this point, intervene in this matter to especially avoid any violent crisis in Rivers State.
Yes, the president at some point had, from what we heard, intervened in the matter and asked both parties to take action. The president had asked both parties to take action and to see how far there will be stability in the state. But of course, instead of the minister to take action, the minister refused to take action in further disobedience to the instruction of the governor of the president. Engineering crisis within the assembly as against the instruction of the president. And one thing the president should also realize is that the political instability in Rivers State would make government unstable, which I believe the president does not want. That is why he needs to lift the pin on the board and look for a way to resolve this crisis in the state. Because if it continues like this, if we can give him all the arsenal he needs to continue with this political instability in the state, then the president should be rest assured that a section of the country's economy will be affected. Let's not forget, Rivers is an economic powerhouse in this country. Rivers is an economic powerhouse in this country.
Yeah, President, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Who's joining us?
How are you? This
Mr.
Kenny from Dogalada.
Mr. Kenny, good to have you join us.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
All right. Welcome to the family as well.
Generally, I'm never in support of all this godfatherism in politics. And that is what is playing out in Rivers State. Actually, the visitor, the guest earlier said this morning, Wike is someone that if he give you something, it's like a devil. When he gives you something, he expecting it in a million folds, and that is what is unfolding in Rivers State now. And this is a great lesson to every government that they believe that without godfatherism, they cannot attain their position. And very soon, we advised Fubara this morning is that she just hold his stand, because I don't know how he can take this tsunami before him. 27 House of Assembly that are already out of his sight. He takes grace of God. But I know what he needs to do now is to maintain his stand. If he's not ready to go with the ruling party, he should maintain his stand and be loyal to the opposition party, so that at the end of the day, when he really needs the support, it will not be found. So he should maintain his stand in opposition very well, and he should make sure that he's very straightforward, transparent in whatever he's doing in his government. That's the only way that can keep him out of these tsunamis.
All right.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Kenny. Thank you so much for calling. And Mr. Wala, what would be your final thoughts as we close?
Well, my call finally would be on the president. The president should realize the dangers the minister of the FCT is actually posing to his administration with his actions in Rivers State. And let me also remind the president that the actions of the minister of the FCT is also affecting the FCT, because the minister himself is distracted. And like we have called before, if the minister cannot focus on his ministerial duties in Abuja, the president should relieve him of his duties so that the FCT will not suffer from the political instability in Rivers State, because the minister is rushing to try to secure his structure in Port Harcourt while the FCT is suffering. So we are saying that the President Bola should relieve the minister of his duties and allow the minister to go and focus on the crisis in Port Harcourt. And if the minister wants to continue as minister, he should forget about the crisis in Port Harcourt and return back to the minister and focus on giving the people of the FCT the dividends of democracy has been initiated in the plans of the president for the people of the FCT. So that is my call on the president, because this crisis has to come to an end, and it has to come to an end quickly for us to make progress in the state.
Well said. Chetam Theory Wala Esquire, legal practitioner, Pan-Africanist and activist. Thank you so much for talking with us this morning. We really appreciate your time and thoughts on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, and God bless you.
And well, let's hope that the political tornado